Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this past week was filled with all sorts of news about the upcoming Macs, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, iMac, as well as iPhone 13, iOS 15 news, music, and more. This is your news update for the week of May 16th, 2021. And the first thing has to do with Apple discontinuing Space Gray accessories. Now, you may have heard this already if you have a Space Gray Magic Mouse or Magic Trackpad or a Space Gray keyboard that goes along with the iMac Pro. Apple has discontinued these and made them available while supplies last. So currently, they're available in some regions, and you can get them now if you want a Space Gray keyboard. They're discontinuing them probably due to all the new iMac colors and all the keyboards that go along with those. Now, yesterday, if you haven't heard already, Apple introduced Apple Music with Lossless and also Dolby Atmos and spatial audio. So all of those things are coming to Apple Music in early June. And one of the major things that people seem to be upset about is with Lossless, while it doesn't cost any extra when this feature is available, you can't use it with AirPods Pro or even AirPods Max. So the main reason for this, to clarify some of it, has to do with Bluetooth not being able to push that amount of data over that bandwidth. So the current Bluetooth that is supported by both AirPods Max and AirPods Pro just can't really handle that amount of data and that high quality audio. So that's the main reason. Normally you'll need to use a DAC and amp. And the main thing is people that care about lossless audio probably already have a DAC and amp like this. So I actually use one with my Mac Pro, and it's something that I personally care about. So I have a separate digital to analog converter so I can listen to higher quality music. So it's just something that I don't think many people care about. If you have an iPhone, you've been using AirPods Pro and you like them, they're not going to get any worse. They're going to get better with spatial audio and Dolby Atmos. So those will be coming very soon. I can't wait to try that out as far as audio. And it's supported on the oldest AirPods. So it's something that comes to all of the AirPods. Now, yesterday, Apple introduced 2 new Pride watch bands as well. And if you go into the Watch app, and you go to the Face Gallery, at the very top, there is Pride woven. There's a rectangle version and circle, and they're animated if you have them on your watch. So they have a little bit of a different look to them. Let me add that to my watch so I can show you. And you'll see I just added it to the watch, and as you move the dial or the digital crown up and down, it animates back and forth. So it's kind of a nice look to it, and it's one of the new watch faces to go along with the new band. So that's something a little bit new. Now, if you have an AirTag, because it has NFC in it, it's been found that you can use it to trigger an automation event within your Shortcuts app. So if you go into Shortcuts, tap on Automation at the bottom, and then maybe create a new one, create a personal automation, and go down to NFC. When I tap an NFC tag, it will trigger to do something. So you can scan the tag. We'll tap on scan, put it in the back here, hold the NFC tag near your device. It's usually toward the top, and then you can actually name this. So AirTag NFC. And so you can create an automation based off your NFC tag using your AirTag as that tag. So maybe you have it on a backpack that's at home. When you get home, you tap your phone to it. It then automates something that you've created with Shortcuts. So that's a nice little feature you can use that's sort of a bonus thing about AirTags. Now, the next thing is the iMac videos all came out today, and Apple has been pushing them quite hard. They look great, the new iMacs with all the different colors, but Apple is still working on that newer, larger iMac. These are 24-inch iMacs, and the iMac Pro is now gone along with those accessories I mentioned earlier. And according to Gurman at Bloomberg, Apple's been working on the larger iMac, but paused for a bit to focus on the release of the 24-inch iMac. So next, we should see a larger 27, 30, or 32-inch iMac. I would love to see one the size of the Pro Display XDR and have it be a little bit more powerful. So that's something we may see in the near future, but it looks like they paused for a little bit to work on this one, get this ready to go so they can work on the next one. Now, the next thing has to do with iPhone. Continued reports from DigiTimes and others are saying that the notch is definitely getting smaller thanks to a new module that actually integrates the required sensors for Face ID. So you have a flood illuminator, you also have the camera and other things. You have a flood illuminator that sends and receives infrared data to your face to sort of figure out that it's you. And they've been able to shrink this, meaning that the notch will indeed be smaller on iPhone 13 and newer, and even iPads as well. So they're going to to be able to make it smaller. I would like to be able to see it shrunk sort of vertically toward the top bezel, and maybe we'll see that later on, or maybe just go away altogether and be just in the bezel. But it does look like it is indeed going to get a little bit smaller this year. Also, they're still said to be getting a 120 hertz ProMotion display that's manufactured by Samsung. And also, the next iPhone may be a little bit thicker. We keep hearing this due to maybe increased size of the battery and a larger camera module on this dummy unit of the iPhone 12 Pro Max that I have from quite some time ago. So you'll see the camera module is kind of huge, and it's said to get a little bit bigger on the iPhone 13, which would mean it needs more space, but it also allows for a larger battery, which I know a lot of people like. The iPhone 12 Pro Max and 11 Pro Max have a great battery, but many people would welcome an even larger one. Now, I wanted to show you a concept by Antonio De Rosa. He's shared quite a few different concepts with us, and this is his idea for an iPhone M1. Now, it's been quite controversial due to its asymmetric design, where it houses the sensors in the top and then leaves the screen to be full screen. I kind of like this idea, but it is a bit jarring to see an asymmetric iPhone. So I thought I'd just share it with you. I definitely like the overall look. It looks good, but the asymmetric design, I'm not sure I personally would want that. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Now, yesterday we had the release of iOS 14.6 release candidate, and I would expect iOS 14.6 to be out within a few days or even earlier next week. The new watch bands launch next week, the new Pride watch bands, so it could come next week, but expect it within a week at this point. Apple has not given us a specific date as to when to expect it, but we can see the watch bands next Tuesday, so we'll have it before then, I think, along with watchOS 7.5. Now, when it comes to iOS 15, there's been some new news about that. So iOS 15 will be shown for the first time on June 7th at WWDC, or the Worldwide Developer Conference. And with that is going to be a newer design, a bunch of different features. And according to Scoble, if you've never followed him before, he reported quite some time ago, Apple is planning something big this year, and it will be starting with WWDC. Very much a 3D Apple, where they're going to push hard into augmented reality, where you can use the camera to sort of scan the environment and see what's going on. From everything from a new real-time 3D map of the entire world, although real-time, I'm not sure that means via satellites, maybe just traffic and things based on people's phones sending data back, and also an enhanced Siri that would be able to recognize objects. So you'd be able to recognize maybe this AirPods case and just ask Siri, where can I get these? It would understand that these are AirPods Pro, and it would tell you the Apple Store and other retailers. So it's said to get a huge enhancement this year. Now, this is said to roll out over this next year. Maybe we'll see some of it at WWDC. But that would go along with a new search engine that would power all of that to visually identify different objects. Everything from iPads to AirTags to even a coffee cup or a Coke can, as he mentioned in his article. And then also to go along with that, when it's searching for AirPods or anything it's trying to identify, it could use its own mesh network that he's saying is coming soon to offload some of that AI work to maybe M1 Macs, for example. The M1 chipset is not using a whole lot of its neural engine to process AI data, and it would offload from your phone using this mesh network to try and process that information. That makes a lot of sense based off Apple's M1 roadmap, where it seems like it's heavily underutilized for something they have in the future. Now, this could be coming this year or a little bit later, but it goes along with Apple glasses. And he's saying that Apple AR and VR are still very much a thing, like many others report, and it would include a new wearable OS that really helps put all of this together and make it something like we've never seen before. Where the iPhone was a huge announcement and changed the way we live, he's saying to expect AR and VR to do the exact same thing in the future when they're ready. So it would be a paradigm shift to more visualization. That's something I can't wait to see, and it sounds like a big leap, and I can't wait to see what they have at WWDC. So iOS 15 would go along with that, integrate some of those new features, and then have sort of a visual overhaul of some things like the control center, like I've talked about before. But the big information is on the back end of iOS 15 if all of this is true. Now, when it comes to iPad, the mini LED iPad Pro is coming out this Friday to those who pre-ordered it, and you'll be able to get it in some places. A lucky person actually picked it up at a furniture store early and has one already somehow. But early benchmarks are showing that the iPad is over 50% faster than the one I'm currently using. This is the 2020 iPad Pro, so the new M1 is that much faster. So I can't wait to try one out, but someone was able to get their hands on one already. Now, when it comes to the new Macs, there's quite a bit of new information from today about that, according to Mark Gurman. The first thing is mini LED MacBook Pros could be coming very soon. Now, some people, such as DigiTimes, are saying that it's delayed due to the LED MacBook Pro display. However, according to Mark Gurman, we could see it as soon as this summer with an all-new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro. And it would include things such as mini LED. Also, it would include no touch bar with new ports on the side. So not just two Thunderbolt ports, but also HDMI, additional Thunderbolt ports, as well as MagSafe and an SD card reader. So I can't wait for them to bring that back. That seems pretty much guaranteed by all the sources and some of the leaked documents on that. Now, to go along with the MacBook Pro, Apple has said to update this MacBook Pro. This is an M1 13-inch MacBook Pro with up to 10 cores later this year. Also a high-end version of MacBook Air that could have similar specs. Coming later this year. We've seen some of that where it could look a little bit different, maybe have colors that match the new iMacs, for example, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, also, Apple is working on a new Mac Pro with up to a 32-core CPU and 128-core GPU. So we could see that coming out based on Apple's silicon. So I can't wait to see what Apple has. They said 2 years to revamp all of their Macs and bring them up to Apple silicon. We may still see Intel Macs for a little while on the high-end Mac Pro, for example, as there was a leak that said an Core i9 may be coming to it based on code found by my friend Steve Mosier in macOS 11.4. So we may see something more for that yet. And then finally, according to Scoble and many others, Apple's working on a gaming console, some gaming console that would integrate AR into it and also be incredibly powerful. So they're in talks with major studios, supposedly, to develop games for it. So we've been hearing about a new console for quite some time from Apple, and with all the games they have in the App Store, it makes a lot of sense that we could see something very soon with all the games they have here. And then if they could do something even more powerful and bring many of the top games to it, it could compete with a Nintendo Switch, for example. However, you'll have to go to Nintendo if you want things like Mario and exclusive. So I can't wait to see if they're actually going to do this. A portable from Apple seems like an iPad with maybe analog sticks, but again, we'll have to see if they're actually going to do it. It's been rumored for quite some time. And so all of this news, I'm most excited probably about iOS 15 in a couple weeks, as well as to see what Apple has in the new Pro versions of their M1 based silicon. So to see what they have as far as high-end silicon, I think we're just getting started with the new M1 MacBook or iPad Pro rather, and the MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, and iMac. I can't wait to see what they have in the future. Let me know what you're looking most forward to in the comments below. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, of course, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.